My name is Amadeus, CEO of Platinum Boy Music Inc. Um, Once Bad Boy Hitman producer. Also Trey Songz, music director and tour drummer. Um, I started in fourth grade. I was always surrounded by music. I had parents that loved music. Back when I was coming up, we had what we call clean up Saturdays. You know, a lot of you youngins don't know nothing about that, but we used to clean up every Saturday. And when we cleaned up, one parent would have a Saturday. So, my mom, she would have the radio. We call it auxiliary cord today. So she was responsible for whatever music that was played while we cleaned up. The next Saturday, my father had, the music. So I was always exposed to a lot of music, different genres, gospel, R&B soul, old school hip hop. So I was always surrounded by music. And my parents, found it not robbery to send me to a Catholic school. And in that Catholic school, we was able to learn a musical instrument. And that for me was drums. Not knowing anything about drums, not really having any love and passion for it, it became something that I fell in love with by, trial and error, I must say. And the rest was history. Went to church, played in church, went to high school, played in high school, was the first freshman to be in charge of the seniors band. And in high school, I started producing, being that I was a musician and I was a drummer. Producing, which had everything to do with creating music, wasn't far from each other. So I tried the whole artist thing. Definitely not going to talk about that. We're going to fast forward, actually. And but yeah, so the production I stuck with. I learned to love it. It became a passion of mine. And here I am, 15, 16 years later, producing for over 60 artists, ranging from, I always forget, there's so many, which is a blessing. Chris Brown, Tiger, Justin Bieber, Trey Songz, Dipset, G-Unit, Keisha Cole, BET. I scored music for BET. I created the ESPN First Take theme song with Wale and Stolly of MMG. VH1, Sprite, Burger King. It's a lot of music. Fabulous, who actually released a mixtape yesterday. Chris Brown would actually released a mixtape yesterday. So a lot of music out there. For those who are not familiar with me and my production. Positives and negatives through my journey. It's pros and cons to everything. Me, being a music producer at an early age, I didn't really have much representation. So I was kind of my own attorney, my own manager for quite some time. And I picked up this book called All You Need to Know About the Music Industry or the Music Business. Donald Passman had wrote a book, Kashif had wrote a book, and I read and I learned. So a lot was trial and error. I've been through a few things that wasn't cool. I've had records released without my permission. I had people steal credit. I had people steal money. There's ups and downs in the music industry and the music business, just like any other field, any other career, life in general. But when you're passionate about it, and you love it like I do, those things don't matter. You kind of just, make it through those things and you keep pushing forward. And that's pretty much what I've done today. So, now I have the right representation, attorney, by my side that looks over everything, every agreement, paperwork, make sure the business aspect of everything is correct. So now I'm in a better place. So I don't need to, dwell on anything negative. But just know that, you're going to get got. I really can't tell you how to avoid something. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But it goes back to me saying, it goes back to me being passionate and loving what I do. That's the only thing that keeps me going forward and allows me to keep being a record producer, because the music business side of it is, can be very shady. But when you create relationships and you maintain those relationships with real, authentic people, you kind of connect with those people and work if possible. But just be you, man. Be you. Me personally, I kept God first. I keep God first. It's just who I am. I'm very a spiritual human being. Far from perfect, very flawed. But that's my strength. That's how I push forward. But again, love and passion definitely keep you motivated and keep you moving forward in a positive light. Hearing my song on the radio for the first time, I was in my mother's car, and she absolutely hates hip-hop, so that was a struggle keeping the station on at that moment, years ago. But I had recorded a record with Foxy Brown called Get Off Me, and it was actually a diss song. She was feuding with the female rapper Eve at the time. And it came out, and I didn't know it was out, and Funkmaster Flex played it on Hot 97, and he said, I got some exclusive. You know, Foxy Brown is going crazy on Eve. He was dropping bombs. And I was in my mother's car, and I never forget it. We was in front of the house, and she was trying to turn the car off so we could go upstairs, and I kept saying, Ma, wait. He's going to play a song that I did, and she was like, boy, please, we going upstairs. But for some reason, she waited, and it came on, and he played the record. He brought it back. He dropped bombs, and I was just going crazy, and she was looking at me like I was nuts. And I was like, Ma, that's the song I made. She was like, what song? I said, that's the song I made. Remember I told you when I went to the studio? And she was like, wow. So it was that moment. It was also the moment of having my first song placed on an album, official album, which was a soundtrack as well, and a movie, Cradle to the Grave. And the song was featured in the movie, played for 26 seconds. Song featured on the soundtrack. The soundtrack sold 500,000 copies, which made it a gold album. I saw my name roll in the credits in a movie theater at the end. So I got a bunch of these stories. You know, what else? Justin Bieber recording, you know, a Christmas record to the song I produced, and we know how, you know, how much of a pop icon he is. So that was legendary. Tour on the road with Trey Songz, being on a flight for over almost 24 hours. You know, going to Australia and, you know, visiting Africa, which we consider the motherland. So I have a lot of experiences and things that I would call blessings that I've been able to appreciate and be a part of, you know, in this journey. My family. First of all, I had to sneak to listen to hip hop because my mother was like very church, like the type of church where they couldn't wear like their hair down. They had to roll the hair up and have the little white little thing on their head, the little, I don't know what it's called. She wore skirts all the time and didn't wear jeans. She like threw all of the hip hop R&B CDs away. Like, it was really bad. And she really frowned upon hip-hop. She loved hip-hop growing up, but I think she didn't appreciate ours because we used so much profanity. And that's the thing that kind of turned her off. So, again, I was trying to be a rapper. Don't worry about that. So once she realized that I was the one behind the scenes and I was creating the music and not the actual rapper saying the actual curses, you know, I got her support. And then just to tell a funny, quick story, she was watching MTV Cribs, and I think Swiss was on there showing his house. And she watched it. Immediately after, she comes up to me, and she was like, who's Swizzy? And I was like, who? She said, Swizzy or Swizzles or something. I said, Swiss Beats? She was like, yeah, the boy that make music, like you. I said, yeah, Swiss Beats. And she was like, you know he got a big house? And he bought his mother a house, and his mother drive a Benz, and this and that. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, that's what you do? Like, you make the beats and make the music? I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, why you didn't say that? You boy, you better go ahead, make the beats, so you can put me in the house. So that's how I kind of got, you know, her support. And, you know, now my mom's just a gangster again. And, you know, she's a little out of control. We had a taping. Did you see the video? We had a taping of me on a TV show, and you know how they warm up the crowd? They were warming up the crowd, and the producers sent me a video of my mother, whatever the dance is, neighing or whatever that is, and she's out on the, like, in front of everybody, going in, and won the dance contest. Yeah, so there's a lot going on with my mother right now. Now she knows all of the Drake songs. She knows all of the dances. She loves hip-hop. She knows how to say Swiss name properly. Pray for me. Pray for my mother. Now I have their support, though. Thank God. I didn't get her the house she wanted as of yet. I did put her in a decent vehicle, which she seems to move around quite well. She meets me at a lot of my engagements and appearances, which I'm very appreciative of. And yeah, she be out. So shout out to my moms, who's patiently waiting on her house like Swizzle Beats.